Well, that was perfect timing. I just turned on the camera and the sun just came out at the exact moment that I did. So I'll take that as a good sign that it's gonna be a good day today. Just wanted to say hi guys, thank you for joining me once again here in my greenhouse, and just wanted to have a little catch up with you guys. Sit down, get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever your preference, have a cookie, lean back. Let's chat about some garden updates and life together. So firstly, let's talk about the boot situation. I told you guys in the last video that I am stuck with a cam boot on my right foot for the next 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks expires this coming Monday, which I'm very happy about. I am being a little bit naughty right now with the boot because I'm not wearing it out here. The other day when I was wearing it, I thought I had adequate protection on the boot with the bag, but eventually I must have stepped on a stick or a rock and it broke through the bag and got the bottom of the boot all muddy, so that was a big hassle. And I just decided this time I wasn't going to do that. So I'm out here in my normal boots and I got my hunter wellies on, which I love so much. My only thing, not to get too far on a tangent because we know I love tangents, is that these wellies are a little too tall for a short girl like myself. I'm only 5'1", so I am in the petite club and I don't really like the short version of the hunter boots, on me at least. So I do prefer the tall ones, and that being said, these kind of butt right up against my knee. Any of my petite girls out there, you will understand the struggle very well. This also happens just with regular tall boots. And I love the look of tall boots, so it's always so sad. After years of only owning and buying the shorter hunter boots, I finally gave in and did treat myself to this pair. And sure enough, they do hit my knee, but the rubber with time has gotten a little bit softer, so it's not as uncomfortable, and I've kind of just learned to tune it out because I want them so badly. I do have another pair of wellies that I love that you'll have seen me in multiple times throughout several videos, and it is that olive green colored pair that I have. These on me are a high-rise boot. They're perfect for me, and I love them so much. I'll link them down below in the description if you guys are interested, or maybe you share a similar struggle and you're looking for a boot that doesn't give you that issue, and it doesn't give me that problem, so I hope they'll work for you too. I actually do want to buy another pair here soon of them because they're so comfortable, and I found them to be really great value. I've had them for at least a year now and they've held up really well, and I put them through a lot here on this property. And also I would love to hear from you guys if you have any recommendations or personal favorites of wellies or rain boots as maybe a shorter person. I have been eyeing is it Les Chameaux? I'm not entirely sure how to say it, brand for a long time, but I do think I'm going to run into the same exact issue with them butting up against my knee, but maybe the rubber will soften just like the hunter boots, and maybe it's worth getting them. But if any of you have that brand of boots and you are on the shorter side, or even if you're not, let me know what the rubber quality is like and if you think they'd still be comfortable. Okay, so that was a really big tangent, but all that to say, my foot is on the mend. It's still swelling, but we'll see what the podiatrist says on Monday. Okay, so now let's chat about my favorite thing to talk about, which is what's going on in the garden at the moment. And it looks like the sun is peeking back out for us. Sadly, the beautiful lilacs are on their way out. They are starting to go over now. There are still some good blooms, and actually the smaller plant that I have outside of my gate is just starting to bloom. So I'll have access to lilac for maybe another couple of weeks, but the main ones that had bloomed that we picked together for different recipes are now turning brown and drying out. Even though the lilacs are starting to fade, I still have the most gorgeous alliums blooming, and they're so prolific and plentiful. Iris have just started to bloom on either side of my greenhouse here. I believe the variety that I have, I don't quite know the name, but I do think it's a native. So I'll look for that and see if I can find it and put it in the description box down below, but I will show you a clip of what they look like. They're a deep purple, similar to the allium, so they look really good alongside them. I am a really big fan of bearded irises. I think similar to lilac, they have a short blooming window. At least the ones that I've purchased, I think they've only bloomed once a year. Maybe there's some that bloom twice a year, but I'm not entirely sure. I think what's so fun about them is they come in so many different colorways. A lot of them have this gorgeous multicolored ombre effect where one color fades into another. Like you'll find some that are a pink and a purple and a yellow all together, just blended into a gorgeous rainbow of pastel colors. And I think they are beautiful and fun and joyful. And like I said, even though they only bloom for a short time, I'm really excited to see them every year. So I've been expanding my bearded iris collection on this property every year. Now, one of my all-time favorite flowers just came into bloom here, and that is peonies. I love all varieties of peonies. I have several Sarah Bernhardts. We have several up in the front of our property. We have some along the side of the home, and I have some by the gate over there. Truly, I love all different types of peonies, all different types of colors. I think the Sarah Bernhardt is technically my favorite, but I truly love them all. And I even had a bouquet of peonies for my wedding. So I love to grow them, and I will keep expanding my collection here on the property for sure. And I have put some heirloom varieties in the critter fence, which haven't really done much so far this year. I think there's one coming up. I don't quite know which one it is. They looked gorgeous on the website that I purchased them from, but they're just not thriving right now. So maybe they need a little bit of time, maybe next season, but I'll keep an eye on them and let you guys know. I love using peonies for flower arranging and also for using as decoration on cakes and desserts. Okay, and as you probably saw in the intro clips of this video, if not, I will put a clip here of it, but we have made significant progress on the duck house finally. So we got our instructions and we've started building the frame, and I've started painting it. So my husband has been doing the bulk of the heavy physical labor, which is the building of the frame, the cutting the pieces, the drilling and nailing in of everything. And then I have been primarily focused on getting it painted. So I spent about a whole day painting the first initial coat on the frame, and then I do have to go back out there and paint a second coat. So we are getting a lot closer to being done, and I'm just so excited for them to finally get to be out here in their new home. I still can't believe that when we picked them up, they were literally this big, and that wasn't even that long ago, and now they're this big, which is so crazy to wrap my head around. They grow so fast, and they're almost completely fully feathered at this point. Okay, so last couple updates about the garden to share with you guys, and then I want to talk about the book that I'm reading. I went to the farmer's market this week and picked up a couple of different plants, and the one here off to the left at the front is a blackberry. I wanted to grab a blackberry plant because we have several blackberries around the property. However, they are obviously shared with the wildlife, with deer and rabbits, and I kind of felt guilty foraging those when I know that that is a main source of food for them that they enjoy during the summer months. I didn't want to be tapping into their food source anymore, or at least I wanted to reduce that. And I'm hoping to plant it in the critter fence so that there's no wildlife competition or, my dogs getting into it. The next variety of plant I picked up is the genuine variety of tomato. I've never grown tomato from seeds before, so I typically will grab a couple of plants every year at the farmer's market, and they've done pretty well in my greenhouse. I've learned a couple of trial and error lessons growing them the first couple of years here. So yeah, that one will live here in my greenhouse, and hopefully I get a good yield. All right, and now the next plant, and this is technically the only herb of the bunch, this is lemon basil, and I love any kind of lemon or lime flavored herb, so I also have lemon thyme and I love it. Okay, and now one of the most fun plants to grow in my opinion, I then have a little container of strawberries that I picked up. I'm very new to growing strawberries. This is only my second year, but so far they seem to be fairly simple to keep alive. Sometimes the leaves will get a little bit discolored for me, and I think that might be from overwatering. I might put these in the critter fence bed back there. Even though it's not fully filled, I might still go ahead and plant a couple of things on the side of the bed that has soil in it so I can just get them out there. Or I'll put it in a pot in my greenhouse. But I am really excited, and actually we already have one that is pretty much just about right. She's pretty much ready to be picked. And then look at this adorable little baby that's coming in. All right, and the very last plant that I picked up is an adorable little cabbage, and I don't quite know the variety of this one, but I have tried to grow cabbage in the past from seed, and it hasn't gone so well, so I really wanted to pick this one up. I love cabbage. I think it's just, I don't know, it's really simple but flavorful, and I love using it in soups. So yeah, I picked this up. Okay, the last thing I wanted to chat with you guys about before we go and do a little bit of exploring out in the garden, I show you some of my plants, and then we maybe do a little fun baking or some recipes is this book that I've really been enjoying. And granted, I haven't gotten through it too much because I haven't spent a lot of time recently reading. Every time I read this book, I do become a little bit more invested in it, a little bit more addicted to it, and so I am starting to read more of it. And this is called The White Hair by Jane Johnson. And sort of the central backdrop of the story takes place at this abandoned manor house that the main characters have purchased and are transforming to run a business there, but they're currently living in it while it's being worked on. And it is surrounded by gorgeous woods, very descriptive writing. If you love nature like I do, then I think you will really enjoy the writing and the overall theme of the book. And there's a lot of coastal vibes because the house is backed up against the ocean. And so it is a really beautiful book in terms of the imagery and the landscape that's mentioned. And from a plot perspective, the story is centered around a newly divorced or separated mother that has a daughter, Janie. Her daughter, Janie, is this really adventurous, sweet, bubbly, happy, confident child. And one of the things that this book makes clear from the very start is that this house has some sort of dodgy, dark past history, and a body has actually washed up at some point in the past here. So there was clearly something really, really bad that happened in this area that maybe the locals are aware of, but these individuals who just moved there don't know about it. And I do want to say there seems to be kind of like a mystical, magical fantasy element maybe happening here as well, because the daughter has seen a white rabbit that we're not really sure if is really real or if that's just a part of her, I'm dodging a wasp, part of her imagination. There is a male character that was introduced pretty early on as well, and I do think that this is probably a potential love interest for the main character, and he seems to be a local, or if not local to the exact place that they're in, fairly nearby, and clearly knows a lot more about the dark history of the home than they do. And he's kind of alluded to it a couple of times, and he maybe even has a personal connection to the home, is kind of what I'm picking up on a little bit reading it. It's pretty clear that the main character, Mila's mom, Magda, has forced her hand more or less into agreeing to co-run this, what seems to be a luxury B&B business with her and serve as the cook of the business. So yeah, I am early on into this book, but I am really enjoying it so far. So I will update you guys on my progress and let you know what my final thoughts are about it. Okay, and now from a baking perspective, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do today. I do want to try to make a lilac lemonade. I saw a recipe on Instagram where a person was doing lilac syrup with lemons for lemonade, and it looked amazing. So I do want to try to make that. And I think I kind of want to do a little bit of cake baking. And I just want to say, I hope you guys are having an amazing week. And once again, I just want to thank you for being here with me and spending some time with me. Just to show you guys the lineup of plants that I was talking about earlier, we have the blackberry all the way to the right. Obviously, it's the biggest plant, and the cabbage all the way to the left. And then obviously you can spot the strawberries, and we have our basil and tomato plant. I also wanted to give you guys a quick update on how my seedlings are doing. The cosmos are thriving. They are getting so tall, and the nasturtium is doing really well also. So I do want to plant these out, and I think the nasturtium will also go in my critter fence on the area of the soil that is complete, or at least some of them will. So I'll show you those when I get them planted. Also, I previously mentioned that I had planted mint in a couple of pots here in the greenhouse and neglected it over winter, but that I started watering it early this spring and that they're coming back. And look at this. This variety is chocolate mint, and it's so fragrant, and they're coming back. I can't believe it. And then this is the second pot that I have, and I have two different varieties in here. One is orange mint, and I don't remember what the second one is. This is the orange one down here, and maybe this is chocolate mint. This is one of the irises that I mentioned that I have on either side of my greenhouse. Look at all of the buds on my David Austin Harlow car.
This is one of my absolute favorite David Austin rose varieties. And because they're so spiky, the deer do tend to leave them alone a little bit more than other types I have found.
Okay, we made it back inside and I've got you guys balanced right now on a package. So hopefully that doesn't go awry in any way, but we've gathered some gorgeous lilac flowers together. The fragrance is divine. All right, so let's figure out what we need to make this lilac lemonade. I've got Instagram pulled open and I originally found a recipe for this lemonade from the account The Wild Apothecary. And it says that we need 2 cups of water, 3 fresh squeezed lemons. I don't actually think I have 3, so I'll use 2. 3 cups of ice and 1/3 of a cup of lilac syrup. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed my container of lilac syrup from the fridge and I filled up this vessel here with about a cup or maybe a little bit over a cup of ice. I'm not going to do the full recipe and do 3 cups of ice because I think that would just be too much for this. Okay, now for the lilac syrup, I'm gonna go a little bit off course of the recipe and use about 1/4 of a cup. The recipe recommends to do 1/3 of a cup, but that's with 3 cups of ice, and obviously we've done less, but I still want it to be pretty potent, and I feel like this in general is more mild flavored. Okay, so I just went ahead and squeezed 2 lemons off camera, and let's go ahead and add it into our mixture. All right, and the recipe didn't really have any mixing instructions, so I'm assuming it's just that simple, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some water to it now. Okay, so I just gave that a really good stir, and now I'm excited to pour it and taste it. All right, let's give it a try. So good. The lemon is definitely the most vibrant flavor because, as I said, the lilac syrup that I made is pretty mild. I think I could have let it infuse a little bit longer to get a more intense flavor, and I probably could add more to this to give it more of that lilac flavor as well. However, I have to say it's just so refreshing and I love a good lemonade, so this was just a really fun, easy recipe to try. Okay, so we're gonna take the easy road today with baking, and I am gonna use a pre-made cake mix. And this cake mix is from the brand Divia's, which was a new to me brand until about a month ago. I think I was looking up Ayurvedic things because I'm fascinated by Ayurveda, but not to get on that tangent. I came across this brand
because I think they are based in Ayurvedic principles and cooking techniques, and they have, I think, a restaurant out in New York City. So their website has a whole bunch of different food and different things that you can check out. But this is their buckwheat cake, and it is a gluten-free, dairy-free mix, and it has buckwheat flour, something called sucanat, which I'm not sure what that is, but from the sounds like it is a sugar substitute or a sweetener, arrowroot, cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, and then lemon juice powder. So this is going to be really simple. It just says we need to add a half a cup of coconut oil, olive oil, or ghee, half a cup of warm water or almond milk. I'll probably use oat milk, half a cup of peeled and grated apple or one mashed small banana. I happen to have a banana, so I'll use that. And then it recommends almonds for the top. So I'm gonna give this a go. I've never tried this before, but I figured it might be fun to do something different. Okay, so it looks like we've got to mix this recipe in two parts. So the first part will require us to combine coconut oil, our water, which I'm going to use my oat milk that I made, and a banana. So let's go ahead and put the banana in first. We want to mash this up a little bit. It does say a small banana, but transparently, this is the smallest banana that I have. So I'm just going to go with this one. Just going to mash this up. All right, and now I'm going to pour in half a cup of oat milk. Okay, and now we're going to add in a half a cup of coconut oil. It does say melted, but this is pretty softened, so I think it's going to be okay. All right, so we've got a very mushy, clumpy looking substance that reminds me of porridge a little bit. So now I'm going to add in the dry mix. Oops, and I just realized that it recommended mixing together the dry ingredients first before adding it to the wet ingredients, but oh well, living our life on the edge here. Let's just mix them together as it is. It's all ready for baking now, and we are going to bake it for 20 minutes at 375. All right, so the cake is finished baking and looking pretty good. Definitely smells very banana-y and sweet. And I have to say, I need to start putting a layer of parchment paper on the baking pan when I put it in the oven, because this was a little bit difficult to separate out of the pan. So to finish it off, of course, I want to decorate and make it all pretty, and I'm going to use some of the lilac sugar that we made last video, and I'm also going to sprinkle some powdered sugar and then top it off with some almond slices. And of course, I can't forget my favorite thing to decorate with, which is flowers. So then we'll gather some from the garden to decorate. Okay, let's go gather the flowers. Okay, so I just ran outside and gathered a couple of peony blooms as well as some cosmos that I have. Just look how gorgeous these are. And I also grabbed some of these geranium flowers because they are super plentiful right now in my garden. right, so that is the finished and fully decorated cake.